Hey everyone, Dave here over at Trek Builder. Well, it's been a while. I haven't done a video in, oh geez, about a year now. Took a break from modeling, just with work and other interests other hobbies, whether it's gaming or movies. Yeah, I just kept myself occupied, and I just decided wasn't very motivated in models, so I decided to take a break. However, I got a ton of models that I need to catch up with, and I've started working on Voyager, and I'm at a point now where I want to keep going at it. So I thought I'd just do a kind of an introductory video, pick up where off my last video about a year ago. Kind of show you my progress with Voyager. I've been working on it now for about a week and a half, and just have a desire now to get back into it and get this puppy up and running. So that's where I'm at. It's been a learning experience, to say the least. Again, this will be my first model that I'm lighting, so it's been a lot of learning to figure out how to do it, because you don't want to build something like this and then screw it up or make a big mistake and be discouraged and all that. So I'm taking it slow, watching a lot of videos online. I'll tell you, there's a few different guys out there that have built this, or great modeling tips to help you with lighting a ship, and pointers that I'll tell you really come in handy. So I thought I'd throw out a few shout outs a couple shout outs that have been a big help for me, as far as just answering questions, and very helpful. First off, I want to say thanks to Boyd over at Truckworks. If you haven't watched his videos, watch them, because they are extremely informative. He does excellent work as far as building Star Trek ships, and he's all around just a great guy. And so thanks, Boyd, for all your work and help, and it's been a big help for me personally. So thank you, appreciate it. Another one that is very helpful, actually a couple, Simon Merckx over at the Kit Factory. Funny guy, love his videos. I love his antics he throws in these skits, and it's super funny. So thanks, Papa Smurf. You've been a great help. And another one is Steve Neal over at SNG, or Steve Neal's Garage. All these guys, they're great, experienced, well-rounded modelers that have been doing this for some time, and they have a lot to offer, and very useful tips from all three of them. So thanks, Steve. Appreciate your videos as well. Your Voyager build has been really the big one that I've been molding around my build here. So thanks a lot for doing the build up on Voyager, because without it I think I'd be twice as lost as I am now. So thanks much. So without saying much more, I'm going to pan my camera around here so you can see kind of the progress that I'm at. And it's not a whole lot from my last video, but I'm making small steps towards finishing this thing, and this time I am going to finish it. But even now, time is really tough to fit in to get this done. So, but anyway, let me pan this around here. And as always, I'm not the greatest cameraman, so bear with me as I fumble around trying to get this put on the tripod. Okay, so here we take a look. I thought I'd just throw up the box art. You'll take a look here. Again, this is the Voyager model from Revell, Germany. This was the reissue that they did on this kit, and very nice kit. I haven't obviously put any of the pieces together yet, but when I get to that point, I'm hoping that there's not a whole lot of gaps, that a whole lot of fit issues and all that. Hopefully this thing will seal together fairly good. Of course, you're always going to have some gap problems, but hopefully it'll come together pretty good. So that's the box. Again, this is the Revell Germany's version of Voyager. So I'll set the box aside here, and I got what I've started on, and pretty much if you're familiar with my last videos or if you haven't watched them, I've went ahead and I don't want to press, no, I did press it down. I started working on the saucer section first, and the windows, because the windows were a lot of work. As anybody who's built this will contest that there's a lot of holes to drill. And I'm trying to get my zoom to work here. And I don't know how good the lighting is going to be, so sorry if the lighting is kind of crappy. But as you can see, here is the upper and lower halves of the saucer. And pretty much what I've done so far is I've drilled out all the windows, got all that finished, and I've also added all the photo etch. The only photo etch that I did not add so far, and I actually should probably do that before I forget, is there's a couple escape pods that go on both sides down by the neck here, and I haven't put those on yet. That's the only photo etch that I have left on this kit. And after watching one of Steve Neal's build-up videos on this kit, he decided not to put on the photo etch in the front here. I did. However, I'm kind of having second thoughts on it now because, simply put, I don't know how difficult it is to be able to match up this paint. So, looking at the decals that come with the kit, they look really good, and I'm considering removing this and just putting on just the decals because it would go a lot smoother. So I'm more than likely going to do that, which is a shame because getting these on was a pain in the rear. Not so much that they were hard to lay down. I mean, just with a little bit of bending, you can get it to conform fairly good. The problem was, I took a pen and I outlined, I cut it off the sprue. By the way, this is the photo etch from Paragraphics, and I'm sure you've seen it in various build-ups, but it's this one right here, the PCMS Paragraphics photo etch kit from Paragraphics, and it's an excellent addition to this model. Highly recommended if you're going to build this kit. You really don't want to do it without it. But anyway, getting back to this here, when I cut it off the sprue, what I did is I laid it down before clipping out any of the individual pieces here. And the reason why I did that is I could kind of, somewhat lay this down and just kind of outline it with a pen. And I kind of outlined it because my biggest fear with laying this down was spacing them properly, because I didn't want to start laying them down and then have one kind of off to the side or too fat in between in between pieces. So I kind of just outlined it with a pen and just kind of used that outline as kind of a marker to where to lay those down. And actually, if you look, it turned out really well. Actually, I was really impressed on how it came out. But for painting purposes, I don't know if I want to leave them on now. Or unless somebody could point out a pretty close color to resemble this, then I would leave them. But so anyway, that's where I'm at. So I got, I've laid down all the photo etch. Now if we flip this bad boy around, I've already light blocked it. And I just use like what most people do. I just used flat black primer. I sprayed black primer on it, and then I let that dry, and then I went through and I painted it with flat white. Now some people may use gloss white. Flat white works just as well, and believe me, I did a light test on this and it's perfect. So really, even if you use flat white, that will work just fine. Now before I painted this, one product that I use, and I haven't seen any videos that really mention this product, and I'm just going to grab it here, is this product here. It's, I don't know if my camera's going to pick that up, but it's Mr. Surfacer 500. Now, I can't remember how I learned about this. I must have watched a video or something, and they, were using this Mr. Surfacer stuff, and I said, oh, I'll give it a try. And what it is it's a paintable primer slash gap filler slash, scratch filler, whatever kind of filler. I mean, it is a filler, but it's a paintable primer. It comes gray. It's kind of a soupy, it's kind of got a soupy texture to it, so it's kind of stinky, but you know what? It doesn't bother me none. But I'm going to tell you, after using this product, this is probably one of the coolest products I've tried so far. Because, I mean, there's so many different uses for this stuff. And it dries fairly quick, and like I said, I just use like a toothpick. I just dip it in there with a toothpick, and it just kind of runs off, and you can kind of, fill gaps or whatever. This stuff is awesome. And what I decided to use this Mr. Surfacer for is my photo etch. After I glued in my photo etch, I decided to use the Mr. Surfacer around all of the seams of the photo etch on the inside here. I don't know if you can kind of pick it up here, but if you look at my windows, they've got the photo etch in here, and then all around the seams of these brass pieces, I took the Mr. Surfacer and I just kind of beaded it along the edge of the, not heavy. I just used it very sparingly, and I just kind of coated the seam of the photo etch, and that made a perfect light block. So I light blocked it from the inside with this stuff, and man, it's awesome. And it dries fairly quick, and then, so then after that dries, then I just went through, I light blocked everything, and that's the finished product. So, like, when I hold it up to a light here, none of these windows here have any light coming through them around the edges. So, I love this product, Mr. Surfacer. If you haven't tried it, definitely give it a try for like light blocking or gap filling, or from the inside. Naturally, if you've already painted your model, you don't want to use it on the outside as a light, to light block. But this stuff works good on the inside if you got things to do inside the ship. So yeah, that stuff works great. Now I went out, I bought all my LEDs and everything that I need to do this model. For the most part. So I went out, bought LED tape. The LED tape is from ledwholesalers.com. It was a website that Boyd had up on one of his videos over at TrekWorks, and very reasonable stuff. I bought, this here is warm white. This is the warm white, and the warm white for a 16.7, I think, or 16 foot roll was like it's on clearance, or it's on sale for like $17 or $15.99, something like that, but very cheap. So you get 16 feet of this, and there's two different warm whites. There's a warm white higher intensity, and then there's a warm white lower intensity. I think the lower intensity, it was warm white, it was like 2700 to -3100. This, what I bought, is I didn't want it to look yellow. So I bought the warm white in the 3100 to like 3700 range, the higher intensity one, and it's excellent. It's not super bright. It is bright, but it's a natural white. But when it comes through like this, there's no yellow. So I personally don't like the yellow look, so I went with a higher intensity warm white. Again, the website is ledwholesalers.com, and that's where I bought it. And they also sell blue, they also sell red, various colors. So when I bought this, I bought the warm white and I bought blue for the nacelles. I've been thinking about maybe getting the red for the impulse engines and the Bizarre, if I'm saying that right, the Bizarre collectors, but I'm thinking about just using a single red LED for the nacelles, so on each side. So I think I'll just not spend the money on the red right now. So anyway, this is the upper half that I've gotten so far, and as you can see, I haven't made a whole lot of progress, but it's a start. And really, if you look here, now I'll show you the lower half is where I have all my lighting. And again, here's like all the photo etch. So if I flip this over, you can see here that same concept, you know, light blocked everything, did the same thing as I did on the top half, but that is the pattern I chose to do the LED tape, and it worked out perfect. The only thing I probably could have changed is I may have, you know, just because now I'm trying to figure out, I'm having a hard time figuring out where I want to put the circuit boards when those get to me. So what I'm thinking about doing is trying to make room here for the circuit boards, because they're tiny, so it probably would fit. Ideally, what I should have probably done is not put this strip here, and I probably could have gotten by with just half of this and left this half open. But I have each side here to work with, and I have this area to work with. So this, you know, if you've built this or if you're thinking about building it, this is the most space to get by with putting your circuit boards. So I might put one here. So I'm still working with that. You know, there is some room down in the hull, in the primary hull. I'm just not sure if that's where I want to put my circuit boards yet. Anyway, as far as wiring, I am using Boyd's suggestion, or what Boyd uses over at TrekWorks. He used magnet wire, and this magnet wire is excellent. I did initially start doing this with 30 gauge magnet wire, which was kind of a mistake. It worked, but it's extremely thin. It's almost too thin. And this isn't a whole lot thicker, but it is thicker by comparison. So I changed it out, and I decided to buy 28 gauge magnet wire. And you know, using this magnet wire is the best stuff ever, because, you know, as I'm sure you've heard, you know, it's coated, so it's not going to short out. You're not going to short your positive and negatives together. You do have to be careful as far as bending it excessively, you know, because it will break. But if you're careful with it, you know, this stuff is small, so I can get through tight areas. It's excellent. I love it. 28 gauge magnet wire. I bought that off of eBay. From the link was, the company was, I believe it's called Fix-It, or no, I'm sorry, TechFix, right here, techfix.com, and it was really reasonable. And I'm telling you, this stuff was cheap. It was like I got 500 feet for like $6 for the green, and then for the red, about the same price. And they sell it expedited, and I'm telling you, I got it in like 3 days. And it came from, I believe, Pennsylvania, and I live in Minnesota, so, oh my God, I got the stuff quick. So if you're looking for magnet wire, buy it from these guys, because their shipping time, their delivery time is fast, and it's cheap. So that's what I bought. So that kind of gives you an idea. I bought the wire, I bought the LED tape, and I've already tested this. I just taped, you know, both halves together, and like such, and I had the wires all hooked up to my power supply, and I'm also using a 9-volt power supply. I have a wall adapter, or a wall wart they call them. And what's really cool when you buy this LED tape is that it comes with on the one end of the LED tape, it has this jack, and it's a little bit longer, but I kind of modified mine. But it comes with this jack, and fortunately, with my wall wart, or my power adapter for my plug-in, the end is the exact same fit as what comes on these. So it's excellent. I love it. So what I did is I clipped it off of the LED tape because it was in the way and I didn't want it on my LED tape, so I cut it off. And I just kind of made this jumper cable, as you can see. So now anytime I need to do some testing or whatever, I just plug it into the wall. And then I got my alligator clips here, and I just touch them, and away I go. So that worked out really cool. So that's where I'm at on the saucer. I just got done light blocking, finishing the shuttle bay area, and what was a challenge when I built this was there's a piece of photo etch for the end of the shuttle bay, like you can probably see it there, and it was really tricky because the photo etch is actually bigger than trying to get that to fit in there. So what I did is, instead of just boring out this whole area here that is normally plastic, what I ended up doing, that probably didn't help. What I ended up doing is, if you look in the back, I left the plastic, but I just bored out a big hole, or I bored out a hole big enough to where all the light will shine through the windows, as you can see. I don't know if that's kind of focusing in or not. So you can't even tell that plastic is still there. I just bored it out, and when I glued it on, the brass stuck way down here. So it took forever. I had to sit there, and I had my sanding. I just took some sanding paper, and I had to keep going back and forth, and I used a file as well. But I had to get that flush because the other half is right here. So getting this to fit was a challenge, but it worked out, you know. You take your time with stuff like this, you'll get it right eventually. So then, you know, I got some filling to do and some sanding and everything, but that'll work out. And then I'll probably just use like just 3 pieces of LED tape and just right there, and that's all you'll need. I mean, you don't need much just to get that window to glow, or get this window to glow. So, you know, that's all I did, and I light blocked it. I kind of taped off this area, and we probably can just pull this off to see if I did what I wanted it to do. I didn't want the hinges for the nacelles to get all full of paint because, you know, the nacelles move up and down. They swivel on this model. So I was a little bit leery about painting the inside because, you know, I didn't want to gum it up with paint and then not be able to move the nacelles. And yeah, so see, I didn't light block the hinges. Didn't think it was necessary. Light's not going to shine through that area, I wouldn't think. So, you know, I should be good to go. Yeah, see, so not a big deal. Should be plenty of paint on in the inside there that will keep any light from shining out when I light it up. And I'll do some testing, of course, you know, to just make sure before I seal it up and everything. So really, that's all the progress I've made so far on these. Set those aside. And the nacelles I also have light blocked and started putting LEDs in. And I'll mention briefly about that. So here's the nacelles, and they're not painted yet. I haven't done anything with the paint. I haven't primered it or anything. But what I have done is, after I light blocked it, the LEDs I'm using are 3mm, and if you watch Steve Neal's build over at SNG, he decided to use 3mm as well because, you know, they might be slightly bigger than what is supposed to be, but, you know, 3mm is small, and it really doesn't make it look bad at all. And the LEDs that I bought, also I bought off of eBay. These are not round LEDs, they're flathead LEDs, so they're flat on the top. So if you look, they're shaved off, and they're very small. They're 3mm with a flat head, and I like that look. I didn't kind of want the bubble look, or the round look like a traditional LED. So I bought these flatheads, and you know, I almost considered just making it flush, because after I drilled my hole, which is the exact same size as the LED, I could have just made it flush. But I chose not to do that. I thought I'd leave a little bit of a stubble to indicate a beacon or a navigation light. Same with the red. I did the same thing. And they turned out really good. And I just super glued it in from the back. I just used some CA, and I kind of put a bead of CA around the inside, and then I just sprayed it with some kicker, and the kicker just hardened it immediately. And then what I'm going to do now, and I also have blue LED tape, and in the next video, I'll probably show you that, but I'm going to lay down the LED tape and then start working on the flux chiller grills, the blue areas. Haven't gotten that far yet. Or I haven't, the Bizarre collectors, I haven't gotten that far either, so I have to figure out how I'm going to trap a red LED in here just to shine it in this section only and kind of light block it off from the blue. But one thing I'm going to do with these LEDs, the navigation LEDs, you got it, I'm going to try this stuff here. I'm going to just goop it. I'm just going to goop it all around the LED, and I'm done. Because the stuff hardens up and it's gray and it's solid, and all the light will stay just strictly out the top, and that's going to be awesome. So that's as far as I've gotten so far. The only other thing that I have done, oh, I'm sorry, I totally forgot about the rest of it that I've done. But let me show you here. Yeah, oops, sorry about that. I'm dropping everything. So yeah, I also have gotten this finished. Not really finished. That's definitely the wrong word. Not finished. All my photo etch is on this. I've started sanding and getting rid of, trying to get rid of the gaps. And this is my first model that I'm like really trying hard to remove as much gaps on the bottom as I can. And if you've worked with this model, or if you've seen this model built, you know, from other channels, this is the worst gap, because the lower hull is in two halves, and gluing this together and the seam it leaves is just horrendous. So there's a lot of gap filling here. There's a lot of sanding and putty work, and I'm starting to get better with putty, but well, we'll find out once I primer it. But the back is also supposed to be glued here, but this damn thing would not stay together. So I think I'm going to leave that alone until I at least get the neck down, or try to fit it, because I don't want to glue this and then find out that there's a problem with the spine here fitting. So I'm just going to leave that open and deal with that at a later date. So right now what I'll probably do is get some lighting, get some LED tape laid down in here. Also, I'm going to start drilling for the beacon, because there's a beacon that goes right here. And probably start working on the deflector dish housing. And then there's 2 photon torpedoes. Anyway, I haven't gotten that far yet, but that's on the to-do list here for the next video. So I've got that finished, and then you also have your pylons right here. Sorry, this is the impulse engines. Now the impulse engines are really cool because you got 2 halves here that you have to bore out. Now I haven't done it yet for here, but there's the rear impulse engines, and you got to drill out and bore out the back of those fins. Same way with the intake for it. And I already did those, and there's photo etch for the back here, or I'm sorry, for the front here. And if you look really closely, and I think my camera can pick it up, you can see it's like a honeycomb, and that to me was awesome. That is a really cool detail to add to that. So like it'll glow red, and then you'll see that honeycomb in there, and it's really cool. The only thing that I don't know yet is, after I drill that out, if I should put like crystal clear, or you know, like I'm gonna do with my windows. I haven't decided if that should be like kind of diffused a little bit. So really can't diffuse this side. I mean, I suppose I could try to put a film on it, but I don't want to damage that detail because it's so neat looking. And then getting it in was kind of tricky, but again, I used the Mr. Surfacer. There, as you can see how the Mr. Surfacer I put in there. And it's a real cool product because it just light blocks, you know, if you're doing like photo etch like that. Then I got to light block these still and drill that out, and yeah. So that's how far I've gotten. The only thing that I'm still trying to debate is my windows. Now I'm set up to do one of two methods. And I'm hesitant on doing the first one, but I'm going to do a test. I'm going to test it on a piece of styrene and see if I like the result. But initially, I was going to use dental acrylic. That's how I learned about this build. It was from Steve Neal. Steve Neal did his Voyager with dental acrylic, and it looks really good. And when you use dental acrylic, I believe it kind of diffuses the light, which I want that, but I don't want my windows to look all white. Or milky, so I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet. I also have microscales crystal clear. I could do it with crystal clear as well, but then they're going to be more clear. So I'm not sure. I'm going to have to try kind of do a test run on a piece of styrene with dental acrylic and with micro crystal clear and see which one I like better. And if anybody watching this video has any suggestions, I have never worked with microscales crystal clear. I think I'm saying that right. Microscale, yep, this stuff. Never worked with it yet. So if anybody has a suggestion how to use this, if you could comment below, I'd appreciate it. Because ideally, I would like to do the windows last, because I don't want to build this, paint it, and then have to build it, mask off every single window, and then paint it. I'd rather do the windows last and be done with it after the painting's finished. Oops, sorry, I'm trying to zoom out here. So I'm not exactly sure what direction I want to go as far as the windows go. Yeah. So if you have a suggestion how to use crystal clear, I might just want to go that route when it's completely built, and then do the windows last. The only thing with dental acrylic is I'd like to do the dental acrylic. It sounds, I have everything to do it with, but with dental acrylic, you have to do it from the inside. So that would have to be something I do before I close it off. And I'm not really sure if I want to do that, because if I do it that way, then I have to mask them all. Not that big of a problem, because I'll just quickly show you another product here that I used once, and the stuff is really good for masking. I used this stuff on my my refit, my 350 scale Enterprise, my refit. I did all the windows first, or I glued in the kit windows, and then I painted it, did everything. But before I painted it, I used this stuff here. It's called liquid masking film. And it's a goopy liquid, similar to the Mr. Surfacer, but it's just like a latex. And you just take a toothpick and you just put it on whatever you want to do. You leave it sit for maybe half hour or so, and it dries fairly quick. And then you're done. And you just leave it on whatever you're gonna paint, and you spray over everything. And then you go back with like a toothpick or a file. Toothpick I use, and then you just go through and you just scrape it off, and it's just like a latex, and it just peels right off of your plastic, and it makes a great masking. And that's kind of what I was thinking about doing. If I use dental acrylic, is I'll use a dental acrylic if I like the way it looks. Then I'll just go back through with all these windows and put this on. That's a lot of work though. But I might want to do it that way. So that's where I'm at with Voyager. If you have any tips or comments below that you can tell me about the micro crystal clear, I welcome any feedback on that. Other than that, that's where I'm at. So probably this evening I'm going to work on putting in the strip tape for my nacelles, strip tape for this bad boy, and also I've got to go ahead and put in my nav lights for the saucer. I got to put in the beacon. I did put in the first beacon right there on the nose of the ship, and that really turned out good. So I just got to wire that up. So I got some lights still to add, and I'll probably work on that. I don't foresee myself painting this for a while yet because I want to get all the wiring figured out and the lighting figured out. I kind of decided to build it first and then in subsections. So once I'm done with the saucer, I'll glue it up once I test all the lighting, and then I'll close it up and then paint it and fill all my gaps and sand it and do all that. I see a lot of people. It seems like it's more common to see people after they get it lit, they glue it up and then they do all their final painting. And that's probably what I'm going to do, is I have to do it in sections first. Probably because doing the lights, you can't have it all put together. And I guess I've never put a model all fully together and then painted it. So we'll see how it goes. Not sure really. I'm just taking it one step at a time here. But so that's where I'm at. If you have any questions for me, if I can be any of assistance, if anybody's looking at building this kit, let me know. And thanks for watching, and we'll be catching up with you soon here probably within the next few days on the next update on this build, and hopefully I'll make some more progress. So thanks for watching. Everybody have fun doing models out there, and we'll catch you next time. Have a good day.